Welcome back to another episode of the Top 6 live debate. Who is going to make the top 4? Man United have been written off by many people. Spurs have had a resurgence. And according to a lot of Arsenal fans, they are 92.647% certain to make it. Those stats keep coming out each day. But I want to know who you think is going to finalise a Champions League spot come the end of the campaign. Will it be Arsenal? Will it be Tottenham, or could it, against all odds, be Manchester United? We're joined tonight by a brilliant panel. How's everyone doing?
Good. Great.
All good.
Feeling very confident for this chat.
Very.
Well,
I might throw a curveball in very early. I don't know if Chelsea's solidified in there. I think that we should have a discussion that they could potentially slip.
I mean, he's not lying.
I mean, they've still got to play me. They've still got to play Tottenham. If we all can get a couple points of them, they are back in the mix. So just a little early curveball, but we'll continue.
you've started it. We might as well finish it. We might as well finish. You think Chelsea legitimately
I think
pulled back
Chelsea.
into this?
I don't think Chelsea are as safe as everyone's making it out to be. You know, what are they? 5 points ahead of us, if I'm not correct? If I'm not mistaken, sorry.
You got to play them, by the way.
We still got to play them. You've still got to play them. Man United still got to play them. Regardless, I'm not worried about Stamford Bridge, to be honest. That's not really. It's never really been a fortress. So, I feel like they're definitely in the discussion. If you know, a couple of us can pick up some points of them, they're back in the mix.
Are you saying that you think they're back in the mix, but they will drop out of top 4, or they could go to 4th?
They could go to 4.
But that's two different things there.
You know what?
No.
I don't see them completely dropping out, but I do see them being not as safe as they thought they are.
You don't think they're nailed on for 3rd, is what you're saying?
Yeah,
that's
they're not going to be
that
3rd.
you're definitely getting top 4, by the way.
No,
because that's what you're telling me. If you're telling me you're chasing Chelsea, right? That means you're definitely getting top 4.
I think that we're playing a better brand of football than Chelsea, and I feel like our pathway that we're on right now is looking a lot brighter than theirs. If I'm honest, you know, there's a little bit of not sure who's going to buy the club. They're not sure who's staying. You know, it could play on their minds, and they've got more games than us to play. So we never know what could happen. You've seen what the injuries done to them in December.
This is what I love. Yeah, I love you guys getting into the the media, the press on your back, saying you're gonna get top 4. You're playing good football. I love it. Listen, I love it. Underdogs, here for it.
I think Chelsea, look, they could. They just don't. I mean, I think they're 7 straight wins on the bounce right now as we're recording this in the Premier League. I just don't see them being dragged. I think 4 or 5 games ago, they were looking like they could. Man United should have won 3 or 4 of the games they drew. They could have dragged them into it. Spurs, when they had all them games in hand, could have gone 3 or 4 points in front of them. I think Spurs and Man United kind of let them off the hook in relation to that. But look, stranger things have happened in football when it's always there as a possibility. I know Chelsea fans in the comments are not going to be liking that at all. No. But I want to talk Tottenham first of all, because it's kind of, your season's kind of been up and down, in and out. When Conte first came in, really good run in the Premier League. It looked dangerous. Then you lost, was it 3, 4?
Yeah.
On the bounce.
Yeah, we've been inconsistent.
Very inconsistent. You then beat City. Right, here we go. Lose to Burnley. And, batter West Ham, you're back in it. Like, what's your take? Do you think you were going to make it?
To be honest, I said after the Manchester United game, we could play you guys, that if it was a win, we had to win that game, yeah? But with that being said, we've beat West Ham. Arsenal have lost to Liverpool in that time. And looking at the fixtures, it's looking in our favour. Simply because Arsenal got to play Chelsea. They've got to play United. They've got to play Liverpool. No, not Liverpool. What was the other big one?
Chelsea.
Got Chelsea, United.
And obviously.
Oh, yeah, myself. Yeah. That's the biggest one.
Biggest
got
one.
to come to the lane.
3-point lane, you mean? Okay.
3-point lane.
Listen.
When was the last time you guys got 3 points at the lane?
It will be this time. Let me tell you this, yeah. The reason why Arsenal, United, and Tottenham are all in this situation is because I keep saying this, we're so consistently inconsistent. There is no on paper we should be beating X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
You've just managed 2 wins in a row just now, and now all of a sudden you're back in it.
Yeah.
But
That's a positive.
Literally, just 2. Is that how we're running things? If we can now string 2 wins together, and now we're going to get the top 4. Arsenal, and I'm not even just saying this as an Arsenal fan. Since what? It's got ever since United dropped their points in that game in hand, when we thought United should probably edge it, it started to swing towards Arsenal. Arsenal have been consistent. It's just been win, 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 and win. Even when we lost to Liverpool, we thought, okay, maybe momentum might go, come back and win at Villa.
Yeah,
it's not like we're blowing teams out of the way like 5-6 nils. It's
beating
not
the
stupid.
teams you should be.
But I don't see how the recent form history should give Man United or Tottenham significant hope because it's looking like a traffic light. Like ours is just green, straight. You guys, it's just not. I just don't see where this optimism is coming from. But that's shout out to Patrick as well because I don't know where you guys are seeing it. I think it's on us. It's ours to lose, in my opinion.
Do you feel as Arsenal fans, people are still just hoping and praying for a sort of what you'd call a stereotypical Arsenal collapse for you to, like you did so many times at the back end of Wenger's career, go on, 3 or 4 game run where you don't win a game. Do you think people are just praying for that more than believing it?
Yeah, probably. I think with the context of what it is, you're going to have to park that because the position that we're in, if you're letting that kind of recent history of the last 5 years where we've not quite made top 4, well, not quite, we really haven't, 2 seasons in a row, but it's a different context. And and that's almost accepting a little bit of failure, just because it goes back to the beginning of the season when no one expected Arsenal, even Arsenal fans, to be in a top 4 shout. Now that we are, and we are in the driving position, like it's in our hands essentially, right?
Definitely.
Like it is in our hands. So it's almost like a cop out if we don't make it. The goalposts have been moved throughout the season, but that's like with any football club. Things change, and in this moment, we are in the driving seat. And I'm not saying that doesn't mean we're not going to lose a game. I'm not saying that because every Tottenham, Arsenal, and United will lose a game, but it is in our hands. Therefore, we should be at this point of the season getting top 4. It was in United's hands at one point. They messed it up. Tottenham had a point where they could do it.
Very brief.
And they screwed it up. So if we screw it up, it's just a theme of this whole comedy circus around making top 4. But in this moment, if you're serious and you're actually trying to take in an Arsenal position, if you're trying to go to the next level, actually trying to rebuild, this has to be the next step.
Definitely.
With that being said, I feel like you guys, like you said, you guys are showing the most consistency out of myself and United. But it's Mikel. He's finished 8th last season before that, and he's never been in Champions League. He's playing for the youngest squad. Is it the youngest squad in the Prem?
Yes.
Yeah.
We have the youngest squad in the Prem, and this is the first time when we went on that little run was the first time he fielded an 11, which was of players that he either wanted to keep or bought. We said it, think about it, yeah? Go back to the beginning of the season when we was -9 goal difference, 0 points, bottom of the league. Everyone was trying to make videos, is Arsenal going down, all this rubbish, right? Us Arsenal fans were saying, just wait. We didn't have our team. We didn't have our new signings. Just wait for us to get our team, and then we'll judge the season from there. As soon as we got our team, the cohesion started straight away from that point, And I don't think any other team like Colleen. Like Colleen said, we're the only team that's showing consistency against these lower sides. You lot are all dropping points to the likes of Watfords, the Burnleys.
Yeah.
All these
I
little
expect
teams.
that when you man have had the same manager for 3 years, and myself, United had 2 managers sacked. I expect consistency.
No, don't do the manager.
You can't do that. Like, if you didn't have consistency, I'll be worried, did it? I'll be real.
Yeah.
Like this, you spent 100 M's in the summer, 100 M's in the summer, and you've had the same manager for 3 years. I've had Nuno and Conte.
Making top 4.
Yeah, no.
Hang on. So you've had. So tell me your recent managers. The last 5 managers you guys have had.
Poch, Mourinho, Conte, and Nuno. Yeah.
So if we're talking about managers, out of that, are we not expecting some success out of those managers there?
Like it's about trophies.
Not just trophies, but like even in getting in top 4 in terms of getting further in competitions. If we're going to talk about managers and pedigree, because I agree, for example, Conte, I think he's a great manager. I don't think he's the manager for Spurs in the direction that you're going. So his pedigree kind of goes out, it kind of shifts a little bit, because if I was looking at Conte, I would have put him as a great fit for United in terms of older players, a team ready to win. Tottenham aren't that team yet. They're rebuilding. They've got you are rebuilding, and it's a different type of squad, and the direction that the Levy and the Tottenham are going in.
No,
so
definitely.
I don't see how. Conte is a great manager, but I don't think he's a fit for Tottenham, and I think that's where it's going to go wrong. Yeah. And how it's gone wrong for, I think Nuno was wrong for him, but Jose as well.
Okay,
you've got serial winners, Conte and Jose, and still.
No, definitely. Conte's got experience achieving top 4 and achieving greatness in the Prem, right? What's Mikel achieved? FA Cup.
So you think
never done the top 4 thing before?
Okay.
Ralph's never done the top 4 thing before.
So you think because Conte's done the top 4 thing before, that outweighs everything else between United and Arsenal.
No,
though.
not at all. But when we're in the latter stage of the Prem, where it gets nitty gritty, 3 points is vital. You know, you need results, rare tear. You know, that experience. I feel like Mikel's missing that cutting edge that Conte has, and Ralph. Don't get me wrong, and Ralph. He's got experienced players in terms of Ronaldo, Varane achieving greatness, but you guys lack the experience in certain departments. Yeah, you're showing the most consistency, but now the pressure's on.
No, listen,
now the pressure's on.
Great having a manager that can get you top 4, but what about your players?
Well,
You're too reliant on Kane and Son.
Royale, Eric Dyer, Winks, Højbjerg, Bentancur, Lucas. All of these
guys have got top 4 before. No one in your squad has anyone in your squad got top 4 before?
No.
That's the question.
No. I don't, you get what I'm saying now?
So what?
So what?
Literally, so what? Who's won a trophy in the club? Like, it's just like you're gonna win a trophy. Hopefully,
Maurice.
Stop it! Get out! Get out!
I'm saying the cheek of that. You answer your question.
I do think you don't have to agree with your point. I think there's some logic behind them in terms of Conte's been there and done it before. Mikel Arteta and this Arsenal team haven't. But I look at this as a rival to Arsenal, and I just feel like you guys have got the bit between your teeth. I feel like you are going to come through that adversity. The question I would pose at this point is, though, if you were to do what Ethan said and you were to kind of crumble under the pressure, start becoming more inconsistent, is that a failure from this point? Or do you judge Arteta from the expectations at the beginning of the season of 5th would be great? Or is it a case of, do you know what, if we don't make top 4 now, the manager and the team need to be not kicked out, not sacked, but ridiculed at the very least?
It's a bit of both.
Definitely.
I think it's a bit of both in terms of at the start of the season, like we all said, I never expected top 4. I said I wanted to challenge for top 4. So where if we got 5th with about 2 points off 4th, I would have taken it. But if you look at the grand scheme of things and what's gone on throughout the season, I think not getting top 4 at the end of the season will be a bit of a failure. Simply because I feel like we've got the better balanced squad. Tottenham are too reliant on Kane and Son. The minute they have a poor game, you see what happens against Middlesbrough, FA Cup. Kane and Son poor, got knocked out. I think they can't do what they've been doing throughout the remainder of the season. I think we've got about 10 games left to fit. 10 games?
About that, yeah.
Yeah, so around
9,
that.
10.
I can't see Kane and Son going on a crazy run, 10 games in a row. I can't see.
You know what's crazy? And what you said, I definitely agree with you that Kane and Son, they don't have the experience in winning trophies like bottling FA Cups, Carabao, but they do know how to get top 4 in it. That's one thing.
Yeah,
that's
they
this
do,
stage.
but
That's what we're doing
one little
every
injury,
game.
obviously I don't pray injury upon anyone,
Yeah.
but one little injury to Kane, you're gonna have to play Dane Scarlett up front. So it's a bit of a bad one.
I think that's a good point though, because I think we're almost in that situation as well.
Yeah.
Where one injury, I think in that point, I think that's where United come back into the conversation.
Yeah.
I've always said United should be getting 4 from the beginning of the season throughout because they've got the better squad, quality wise and on paper.
Yeah.
They've got the depth. And they've got that team is littered with winners. Their problem is the culture at the club at the minute. But if Ralph can get them to click for 3-4 games on the trot, because United are not out of this conversation.
Yeah,
I would put
United
United ahead of Tottenham. I'm not
Thank
gonna
you.
lie.
Yeah, I would say
I'm not
that.
gonna
I would
lie.
say that.
There's confidence.
It is.
Because you just had, I don't know. I just think because it's that kind of it's United, with the squads. If Ralph can just get them clicking for a couple of games, it's not like they're miles off.
It's true.
And I just don't think we can discount them just because of the quality that's there. I'm not saying that I think they will get top 4, but they're definitely not discounted. That's why I put them above Spurs. The only reason they're not above Arsenal is just because of the position we're in now, points wise, consistency wise, and that we've got a game in hand. That's the only reason why. If we were all on the same points, same games played, I would still favour United.
I hear that. The only thing I would say is we both know our best starting 11s. I don't feel like, Terry, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't feel like United actually know their best starting 11. Whereas yourself and we actually know a starting 11, especially going into these big games.
Yeah, look, Man United, there's always a chance. There is always a chance, but essentially it's not in our own hands by a fair way. And, I want Spurs to be Spursy and throw it away. And I'd love to see Arsenal collapse because I want to be back in the Champions League. We are going to appoint, I would say, on paper, a decent manager in the summer. It looks like it's going to be Ten Hag. I'd love him to have Champions League football. We probably will spend a bit of money this summer, 150 million pounds. And I also don't think our squad is as bad as people are talking. And the reason I say that is most of you probably sitting around this table probably predicted we should be in a title race at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I put you first.
Yeah.
So and in and around it. So I think 2 or 3 additional players to create some extra balance, 2 or 3 leaving, top quality coach improves this team so much. The problem for us is, as much as I'd love your collapse to happen, I'd love you to be Spursy, even if that happens, I still see us being as bad. I can't see us. We haven't won. I think we've put 3 wins on the bounce together, maybe once this season, if not at all. We can't win more than 1 or 2 games on the bounce. And that by itself is a problem for us, because even when you present us opportunities, I think we'll do what we've done for many years now. We will go and choke. You know, if we lose our next game and you guys win and you're ahead of us, you'll probably see United go, when the pressure's gone, go on a really good run. And oh, look, we only missed that by a point. If we could have started with, I think fans miss this thing of United will play well when there's no pressure. As soon as it really matters, we had it last year. We got ourselves top of the league. We're thinking, right, can we push on? Literally lose the next game. The amount of times in the last couple of seasons, this team has been in a position where Chelsea and Arsenal have dropped points. United win, they can go 3 points clear in the top 4 race. What do? We go into the game, we draw or we lose. And I just don't see that changing at this point. I want to make top 4. I don't like being negative about my own team, but we're just not as good on the field of play, anywhere near as good as Arsenal. And our killers aren't as potent at the moment as Son and Kane. And they should be, because we actually have more of them. I'm not saying any one of Ronaldo, of course he is where he is, but Ronaldo and Bruno and Rashford have all been, over the last 2 or 3 years, whether they've performed well or not, they've scored goals. They've been match winners for Man United. And none of those 3 have performed anywhere near the level that I expect from them. And I just don't see it changing in these next 9 games.
I've got a question. With one of us obviously going to miss out with top 4. Who do you feel like would be most?
2 of us, probably.
Sorry, 2 of us.
Yeah.
Apologies. Who do you feel like would be most affected by not getting top 4?
Tottenham.
1,000,000%. Yeah.
In terms of Kane and
I think Kane could push the lead again. I think Spurs listen, Bentancur and Kulusevski look like good signings. They look very good signings. But Chelsea, Man United and Arsenal can still attract Champions League quality players without Champions League football. Bigger clubs. Man United even more so than Arsenal. If Ten Hag's there and we can show someone that, you know, we can sign anyone we want in the summer within reason still, because we're Man United. And we can bounce back, and it can be a year out of it. And if we get it right next year, we can go straight back in. I feel with Tottenham, if you miss out, the Arsenals, the Chelseas, the Man United will all be able to, generally speaking, buy better than you. What does it do for Conte? I don't know how happy he's going to be being in that Europa League as an example. Because,
or conference.
If that happens, I would say Tottenham would be the most, damage is probably the wrong word for it. Embarrassing would be Man United. I think frustrating would be Arsenal because you're there having it. But I think the team hardest to climb back up to the mountain next year would definitely be Spurs for me.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. You got potentially Kane going, Conte, and then on top of that, attraction. Let's be honest, we're not as big as you guys. But yeah, definitely. We'll look forward to it.
Yeah, look, it's going to be an interesting one. In terms of next year, though, if Arsenal make it, do you feel like that will be a great sort of jump point, trampoline almost, like boot yourselves up and you'll stay in it again, you'll sign the right players, maybe go on towards challenging, or do you feel like, and I say that because I've seen Gooners out there with, like, if we sign Gnabry and if we sign João Felix, we can challenge here.
No.
Like, what do you think it means for next year?
That shouldn't be the goal.
No.
I don't think it's realistic to think that if we get top 4 for 1 seat, because I mean, we used to be that team.
Yeah.
We were always in top 4. I'm not even just talking about in like the last 10, 15 years, throughout Arsenal's, from the late 90s onwards.
Basically our history.
Do you know what I mean? We've always been in and around it. That has not been that in the last 10, 15 years. So to think that, we get back into, it's like almost going back in history a little bit, trying to wind back the years. The goal should be to get top 4 again. Like it should, and obviously you want to win a trophy, go on a cup run as well. I would love for us to go and challenge to win the Prem. I would love for us to go far in the Champions League. But let's have some realism here.
Yeah.
our goal should be to stay in that top 4 and then get back to that whole, Arsenal treat top 4 as a trophy, because it's just not realistic to think we're going to be challenging Liverpool and City within a season of just getting top 4. Let's be
definitely.
real.
I agree.
Doesn't matter
These
what signs we make.
These teams are about 4 or 5 years ahead of us in terms of their plan and where they are with their plan. Liverpool are definitely light years ahead of us, and so are City.
You can be competitive with them.
Definitely.
But I
On an
think
odd game, we can maybe
short.
nick a couple points off them, but in the entirety of the season, there's just no way we can keep up consistency wise with them. So we'll never be that quite yet. But I feel like what we're doing in terms of, especially this summer, was an eye opener in terms of the signings. We didn't go for any, huge names. We kind of just stayed within our means, got a couple of players who were right for our system and kicked on. Now we just need about another 3 of those transfer windows, 2 or 3, similar to that. And I feel like that's when we can start saying, all right, we'll go and get a 1 trophy and maybe challenge for the Prem, maybe in the quarters, dare I say it, semis of the champs, things like that. That's when we can start having those discussions. Next season, I expect, even if we get top 4 again, I'll still say it's a great season, because the top 4 now is an absolutely amazing season. So
it's just funny, really, because obviously I had a big debate with Lee Gunner recently about he's frustrated that Arsenal fans are kind of celebrating what Wenger was ridiculed for making in terms of the top 4. But I think you've put on a great point that the landscape has changed. When Wenger was celebrating that, you weren't actually, quite often you weren't even scraping 4th. You were like coming 2nd or you were coming 3rd.
Yeah.
And it was almost, I get that, but you were, for large parts of those seasons, like if you go back to like 06 through to like 2012, 2013, even beyond that with the Leicester year, you had teams that could win titles. Like you were in title races. You were there. You were seen as one of the teams that could win the Champions League in a lot of those seasons. So you were brilliant. So I understood then celebrating top 4 was laughable, because actually your goal at the start of the season was to win the league.
Yeah.
So you don't celebrate it. But Arsenal's world has changed. Plus you've got
And the dynamics of the league.
exactly.
Yeah,
Chelsea and City and Liverpool are in a different place. And I think what Arsenal need to do is have the ambitions to get back to winning leagues, but understand that, as you say, there are at least 3 teams that are ahead of you, and you don't know where Man United will be next year. If the summer's good and Ten Hag clicks straight away, United can become it's straight away. But it's around continuing your progression. I don't think anybody, maybe barring Chelsea, is winning the league next year other than Liverpool or City. But remember, in 2024, it's highly likely that both Pep and Klopp leave.
Yeah.
And I think that's when teams have almost got to aim to be at their best, to go, right, can we kind of jump in your grave, as it were, and then become the better team? And this is, football's always been about cycles. Cycles are so important. And it's, okay, in this period, this team's the best, but who's going to take over next? You can't all win the league at the same time. And sometimes, I'm not saying you peak when you peak, but sometimes there's this element of going, okay, well, let's just take our time. Because if I'll give a tennis example. I bet Andy Murray wishes he was 10 years older or 10 years younger. Andy Murray hit his peak at the same time that Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic just have changed tennis forever. He won 3 slams, but and an Olympic gold. If he had one of those players not there, he easily wins 10 slams in his career. If there's only one of those guys in him, he might have won about 15 slams.
Yeah.
And there's almost this element. Sometimes it's like, maybe I don't even want to be at my best until these teams have regressed a little bit, because are they going to be as good without Klopp? Are they going to be as good without Pep? The answer for me is no, because they've got the best 2 managers in the world.
Yeah.
And unless the likelihood of the next guy you coming in being as good as Pep or as good as Klopp is so on. It's like with Fergie and Wenger. We were never going to replace them with better managers than those guys at their peaks, because they were just up there. And the only guys available in the marketplace that are of that level are your Klopps and Peps, and they're never managing our clubs because they've managed rivals. So I look at Arsenal and just think Gooners have got to keep their foot on the neck of the owners. Let's keep getting better. Let's keep progressing. Let's not rest on our laurels. Let's give the Sakas, the Martinellis, the new deals to keep them here. But let's not get ahead of ourselves and get overly impatient. It's going to still take a few more years to win the league, but celebrate those milestones on the way.
100%.
I feel like there is this polarization still with a lot of Gooners. It's almost, I'm not celebrating anything until we're winning the league. I'm calling it all crap until then. And then there is another minority who are sort of like, oh, we're back. We're killing it. We're part of the group of, we're part of the city. And I hear it on streams. They keep talking about themselves like they're Liverpool and City. And I'm like, you ain't there yet either, bro.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? It's like that. You know that lad who joined the gym, does about a month, and he can see a little bit of size change, but he thinks he can flex in the mirror next to those guys that have been doing it 15 years. It's like, bro, slow down. You'll embarrass yourself. You're still going to give paper cuts on them arms, G. And I just think that's where Arsenal are right now. And look, you're a scary prospect. I'm looking at you now as a United fan. You're so much better than I thought you'd be. And I think if most Gooners are honest, there's a handful that I predicted this. But I think most Gooners, when they're honest, like, we're so much better than I thought.
No one predicted this. Let's be
Yeah,
real.
not this.
Not with this. Not on paper. When you saw
Yeah.
the squad.
Not a
youngest
chance.
squad in the league, and to me, we've never. That's one thing in the last decade. We've never been consistent with these small teams. We'll go and beat we'll get some points against United. We might beat Chelsea. We might even beat Tottenham. Then the Watfords, the Burnleys, the Leicesters, we're just dropping points to them consistently.
That was the first. This is the first season where we've done the double over like Leicester, Villa, and Wolves in the same season.
You know what I'm saying?
Mad.
The first time.
Even
It's
back
mad
in the
to
Van
say.
Persie days in like 010, 011, we've never been consistent with the small teams.
Never. So this is the first time, like, Arsenal fans, and I feel like this is why we're getting, some rash Arsenal fans that are going, we're back and whatever. Because it's the first time there's something we generally can get behind.
Yeah.
I can actually see something. Whether it works or not is a different story. But there's something we can generally get behind, and the vision behind the club finally.
But that's what bothers your rivals. Maybe not the guys that are challenging for titles, is they don't feel like that about. So a lot of Spurs and a lot of Man United fans are hating on it because they don't feel that. It's a jealousy thing.
Yeah.
I mean, they are not feeling it about their football club. Therefore, I can't believe that there was all that debate around should you celebrate your team winning games. Like,
It's just silly.
This
It's
is
silly.
ridiculous. Even if you're at a Sunday
And
league
it's all
game.
started.
it's
It's all
silly.
started because Arsenal was starting to celebrate.
That's what I said. The agenda.
I mean, I see it the other way. I was watching Fuad the other day, and he was talking about how, and this is true, but this is one thing with football fans. It's almost, I remember when Spurs I do remember his example when Spurs beat Real Madrid in the Champions League, and Arsenal fans, again, it was the same thing. Because at that point, you were in the mud, and you're seeing your local rivals beating Madrid in the Champions League.
Yeah.
There was that, why are you celebrating? You didn't win the trophy yet. The one thing I will say to Arsenal fans is, you've got to drop the victim mentality. Because as you become better, the knives come out for you. That's just, I grew up as a Man United fan, and listen, the last 10 years, everybody has celebrated our demise. And that's because we were the most despised and hated club because we were the most successful. And that's the only bit, and for some Gooners, younger Gooners, I would say 26, 27 and younger, you've never experienced people disliking your club. So there's almost this kickback to like, why are people not happy for me to be happy?
It's true.
Bro, because that's not what happens when you're successful. It isn't.
You got the haters, you ain't popping,
And it's crazy. Like, what's about Thierry Henry is why he's one of the Premier League's GOATs. Thierry Henry was celebrated by multiple fan bases, barring Man United, because Henry and Arsenal were the team that, if it weren't for Henry and Arsenal, Man United would have just won that period from like the mid-90s until the Chelsea come along. United would have won every league title.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We needed him.
Yeah.
What happened is there's an affinity from United's older rivals. They're like, we're gonna like Arsenal because they're the only team. I mean, United fans created this phrase we called Abus, anybody but United. It was almost, we'll support anyone that's challenging Man United. It's one of the reasons that helps Henry be seen as the GOAT, even though I think he is the greatest player, all things being equal, in the Premier League. Everybody had an affinity because he was the man that was stopping Man United as well.
Yeah.
And Arsenal fans are now seeing that in reverse, where people are starting to turn on them because they're becoming successful again. I just think Gooners have got to learn how to handle that because it's coming.
Yeah, we're
It's
not
coming.
used to it.
It's
Yeah,
new
it's
to
new
us.
to us.
Terry,
new to us.
Terry, I'll be so honest. I envy them right now. Oh, yeah, you're gonna hear this. It's the only time now. Yeah, I envy them. But the reason why I'm feeding you guys, all the media and just speaking to you, guys, just feed it because I know at the end of the season, if you guys do not make top 4, I'm coming for you. Yeah,
What if you
coming
don't
for
make
you.
it?
Yeah, if I make, I don't expect.
I'm
myself
coming
to
for
make
both of you then.
Yeah,
I've got to make
you can take it from United, but you can't not get top 4 and come for us if you don't get it.
It's
That's
just
not
not
how
that.
it works.
But the way you guys are hyping it, and understandably why you're forced, you're young, you're showing the most consistency as well. You're keeping clean sheets, you're scoring goals. But the way you guys are going about it is insane.
Do you know what it is? We're trying to do the hashtag 3 points and bake, but no one's letting us do that.
Yeah.
I just want to get my points and just
quiet
ooze.
down. Yeah.
But no one's really letting me do that. So you get that, aggressive side of me, that animosity, I don't want to bring it out, but you make me. You make me.
If that's the case, then who do we think is going to get 5th and 6th then?
If I'm predicting now, Arsenal 4th, United 5th, Spurs 6th.
No, West Ham coming in.
Now West Ham will drop. Yeah, not by many points, but they'll come 7th.
I think West Ham. It'll be West Ham and Tottenham very close. I don't
You
know.
know
who
what?
will
I
take
feel like you see, you guys have shown the most consistency thus far. Yeah, I feel like consistency. This after international friendly, I think consistency is going to go outside the window. I think it's going to be about performances, 3 points. We're all going to drop points. Let's be real. Pressure's on. I don't know, man.
I
I
feel like you're
can't
going to say
lie.
something mad.
Yeah, go on, say something.
I want to say it. It's coming.
Say it.
I want to say it, but I think it comes down to fixtures. As I said, you guys are playing United at Old Trafford.
At home.
At home.
Emirates.
Yeah.
You're playing Chelsea at Stamford Bridge.
Mhm.
You're playing Tottenham at the Lane. All right, it's a derby, but it's Tottenham.
It's big game.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I feel like it's okay beating these points, these teams that are lower than you, which you guys have done very well. But these big games which are coming back, which you guys have quite a few, it's going to be tough, innit? And especially when experience kicks in, that's when questions will be asked.
But what experience you got?
What can I say?
I'm waiting to hear the 5th and 6th. I was waiting for this.
No, I'll give it to you. I feel like you guys will get 4th, innit?
There we go.
You guys will
There we
get
go. That's what I was waiting for.
You guys will get
after that.
But I will be there to punish you if you don't.
So 5th
Yeah?
and 6th.
Yeah, fifth and 6th. I'll go 5th. Myself 5th, United 6th.
What are you saying then, Cole?
I think it'll be Arsenal 4th, United 5th, Spurs 6th.
I'm the same.
I'm saying Arsenal 4th, United 5th, Tottenham 6th. I feel like if you don't beat us in that NLD, I think we're guaranteed 4th. If you don't beat us,
100%. Joe, I don't think it's going to happen. I think Spurs will start better than us after the international break. But in your quest to try and make top 4, bottle it, crumble, we'll be out of the race for top 4.
Yeah.
But the lack of pressure means we'll win more games.
Yeah,
It's almost
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
get 5th, not by default because it's part and parcel. But I almost feel like it will happen because you'll crumble in the
Yeah.
fight. And we'll just end up being there in 5th, and it'll just be, honestly, I can't wait for this season. I tell you.
Terry, you know, I think you guys will step up, honestly. I feel like
I
think
believe they do.
United-
I literally
I
think they
believe
will.
they do. I believe
I
they
there's
do.
too much
Not enough to
quality.
get to 4th, but I think it'll
Yeah.
I can't listen. We make 4th.
Little cute.
I can't even do it. I can't even think about it. but
Pogba
then-
masterclass before you guys.
I hope so. I hope so. He needs to. They all need to. But viewers, I want your thoughts. Who is making the top 4? Who's coming 4th? Who's coming 5th? Who's coming 6th? We want your thoughts and we want your feelings. Leave your comments below. Make sure you're subscribing to the Football Terrace before you leave. But until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Thank you.